how did you come to be personally involved in the 2011 Egyptian Revolution?
From my perspective, I'm always interested in following an interesting story, a good story. Now, this was the beginning of the era of live tweeting of events. And that's essentially what I started doing. And as I did so, as a journalist, I felt there was a tremendous responsibility. I mean, I had 4 or 5 different sources out there that were continually providing live blogs and updates, from The Guardian, which, by the way, that's where their live blog was born, covering the 18 days of the Egyptian Revolution. And now we see it every day on coronavirus or anything to do with something that is going to be a multiple hours or days long event. It was a good way, and we only had 180 characters back then too, not the 360 that we have today, to really make certain that your writing was concise, that it was sharp, and that you gave a factual link to something. I mean, we had a number of NGOs on the ground that were blogging live what was happening. We had CNN and others. And what I was doing was, I had this old application, I'm not even sure it still exists, where across 2 screens, I could follow the live feeds of about 7 or 8 different groups. And so as they were tweeting, I could see something was happening, and that needed to be reported on or retweeted or grabbed in some form. And the narrative began to build that way. And as I said, once I started to put the book together, there were 5,000 or 6,000 tweets in total that then had to be moved into a position where, meanwhile, in Washington, this was happening. And you've got the State Department, and you've got this group and the other group. And then over in Europe, this was happening in Brussels, and back in the square, there were, again, a dozen or so people, and some of them were killed. I mean, some of them were held in prison for years. At Allah, ALAA, was a real force for truth and for justice. And he spent the first 2.5 or 3 years of his infant's life in prison on one trumped-up charge or trial after another. And several of my friends in the country had relatives that were literally just picked up off the street, not given a trial, not charged, and some of them sat in jail and were there for 7, 8, 9 years. And it was just a horrible, horrible situation for anybody who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was also involved in fomenting the original revolution.